July. Tomorrow, of course, is Independence Day, or July 4th, for our friends in the United States. So I just want to wish you a happy 4th of July weekend. Now, what I'd like to do today is, of course, I love giving advice. And do you feel like you're overdone? Do you feel like you're totally stressed out? You feel like life is running on the urgent and on the crisis instead of being proactive. You feel like you're reactive. And we can have those type of days. I mean, let's face it. My daughter, for example, is going through one of those situations right now. About a week ago, we had a big rainstorm, and she's been basically dealing with water in her basement for about a week. And she yesterday came home or over to our place and spent the afternoon sleeping. And of course, yesterday morning, I was over there for 3 hours helping her to mitigate the flood. So you can feel that way. So today I want to talk to you about, how to reclaim your freedom. The first thing that you should do in the day is protect your first hour. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking about no phone, no email, just you. It's called your time. Now, for me, that means that, of course, I like to spend time with the Lord, but I also like to spend time here on social media. This is the way that I have basically protected my first hour. I don't go into my emails. I don't use my phone to phone anybody. I just spend time with you. But that is so important that you and I allow that first hour to be able to, keep us centered. It's called, of course, ordering your own private world. Gordon MacDonald, for example, in his book, Ordering Your Private World, talked about how that in that first hour of the day, you do reading, you do prayer, you do quiet meditation, thinking about what you are and how you want to center your day. And so what that does is get you started on the right path. And it is the first aspect of course, setting and reclaiming your freedom, because so many people feel chained to so many different things. And we find out that instead of being proactive, we end up being reactive. So that's the first thing you do. Make sure that that first part of the day you protect. No phone, no email, just you, and getting yourself ready for the day, however that looks like. There was a gentleman that I knew that every morning he'd get up very early. He would go into the kitchen. He would have his coffee, and then he would open his Bible and read it, and then spend some time in prayer. And then he would just sit there and get himself centered for the day. And his parents, or I should say his children, saw that, and they spoke actively about that when I had the privilege of doing his funeral. And it was a happy memory for them because they knew that he was praying for them, but also as well that he was a well-centered individual. In respect is that he spent more time being proactive than reactive. Also as well, say no to work that drains you. I mean, it's very easy to fall into someone else's schedule of life. There are lots of things out there and people out there and situations that will drain you. Just learn to say no. It was interesting that when my daughter Rachel was about a year and a half to two, she would walk around the house going, no, 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 no. And yet something happens to us. We, instead of saying no, we end up saying yes to things that actually drain us and actually pull us down. So it's learning to, say no and also being wise on who you let into your life and what they demand from you. Because I want to tell you something, most of the people that are in our lives, whether we like it or not, okay, they have certain expectations of us. And sometimes those expectations are unrealistic. And you can actually find yourself in situations where you come back and you're totally drained. And you think to yourself, why did I say yes to that? Why did I allow that person to be able to get me to do something that I didn't want to do? I mean, there is, of course, the aspect of being a nice person, but sometimes you have to say no simply because you know that it's going to drain you and pull you away from what you want to really do and who you want to really help. Now, you know that I am a person who believes in helping others and also being a blessing, but you also need to know what it is that will drain you and what is toxic. And only wisdom and experience will be able to give that. Now, here's something else to think about. Give 30 minutes a day to something that makes you feel alive, whatever it is. Now, I'm not just talking about a television program or grabbing a video game or spending some time scrolling on social media. I'm talking about a hobby. I'm talking about an activity. I'm talking about something that you love to do, whatever it is. Just take 30 minutes a day. What it can do is actually help you to feel better. You may say to yourself, well, I like to go to the gym for 30 minutes. Go to the gym for 30 minutes. Maybe jump, like one of the things that I like to do is I like to get on either my motorcycle or my bike, my pedal bike. And like yesterday, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So I just jumped on my pedal bike, my 18 speed, and I just kind of rode around town. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, I was de-stressing myself. I love to go on my motorcycle, for 30 minutes or something like that. And it just makes me feel alive. I don't know what activity you have that makes you feel alive, but do it for at least 30 minutes a day. And I'm not talking about social media. I'm not talking about watching a television program. I'm not talking about scrolling on your phone or your tablet. Something that is physical, something that is a hobby, something that is an activity that makes you feel aligned. And now, this is very, very important, especially if you are a person who works and is away from home. Draw a hard line between home and work and stick to it. The problem that we had, especially during the pandemic, is that people started working remotely. Now, that sounds really, really good. The only problem is that over time, work became more important than home life. And, you had an hour of time. And so instead of spending that time with your family, you went into your home office and did work. That was great for your employer. It was great for what you did for a living, but it drew you away from the people that love. You see, home is supposed to be a sanctuary. Home is a place where you're supposed to be yourself. But when you have a combination of both, and today, of course, we have that situation. I've had an office in my home basically since the early 90s, always, okay? But I've learned to discern between, what is important when it comes to my work and also as well concerning my home life. And it really was quite difficult to do. I'll tell you this story. I've told it before, but when I was a young man in my first church, I was working very hard to build the church. And so I would spend a lot of time away from home. One afternoon, I decided to come home for lunch. And I walked through the door, and my oldest son, whose name was Robert, he said, "Hello, Pastor Daddy." And I said, "No, I'm Daddy." "Oh, okay." That's what he said. And he tootled off. And I asked my wife, I said, "Am I working too hard?" She says, "You are. And your son is missing you. And I am as well." So right then and there, I made my family a priority. And I learned the difference between, of course, um, the hard line between work and home. It's easy to bring your work home these days. I mean, we have all of our devices that connects us to where we want to be and what we want to do. And most of the work that we do these days are on devices. So the simple fact is you need to turn it off. What it may be a phone, it may be a computer, it may be a tablet. Draw a hard line between home and work and stick to it. That's how you reclaim your freedom. Stop asking, number five, stop asking permission to live your own life. So often we are overwhelmed by the expectations of others. And because of that, we end up living our life not for ourselves, but for others. And there's a balance between the two as well. I mean, I'm not telling you that you should be totally selfish. I'm not telling you that you should, have your world completely revolve around you. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is this, that you need to take a hold of your life and find that balance between being a blessing and end up being manipulated and enabling others by allowing their expectations to overrule your own expectations in your life. I was reading today a nice little saying, and it went like this: the compass was invented before the clock. So that just tells you that direction is more important than how much time it takes you to get there. So allow that first hour of the day to be the compass of your life. What you're doing is you're setting the direction and also as well the conditions of the day. And you're saying to yourself, okay, help me to recognize that which is beneficial to me and beneficial to others. And then begin to say to yourself, okay, I'm giving myself permission to live my own life. And I'm not going to allow other people to dictate to me what I do with my life. Now, the only person who really has the authority in your life to, help you direct that life is your spouse. Your first priority beside yourself is to your spouse. And so if involve them in that as well. Plan out your day together after that first hour and involve them as well. That's important as well. And the last thing that I want you to do today, or we should do, is get outside every day. You see, creation will steady you. So, I mean, right now where I live, it's summer. So it's relatively easy to do. But I live in a country of Canada, and Canada has beautiful, we have winter and we have summer. And the one thing that Canadians have learned to do is embrace all the seasons, including, of course, winter. And so there are things that you can do outside in winter, like, for example, snowmobiling, things such as, enjoying skating or winter activities. There's all kinds of winter activities. What I am encouraging you to do is get outside every day and enjoy, of course, the surroundings that you have. Now, I grew up in southern Alberta. I grew up in, Banff and Jasper and Waterton and the Kananaskis. So that was easy. Every day I would go outside and enjoy the beautiful mountains. Well, I don't live in the mountains anymore. I live more in the parkland. But what I like to do is I like to, get out there and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the sunshine. Yesterday, for example, I just went for a walk and just enjoyed the beautiful sun on my face. And I actually sang that old song from, John Denver, Sunshine on My Shoulders makes me happy. Either way, get outside and enjoy it because creation is going to steady you today. So let's look at these 6 things again. Number 1, protect your first hour. No email, no phone, just you. Say no, number 2, to work that drains you. Also, number 3, give 30 minutes a day to something that makes you feel alive, whatever it is. Draw a hard line between work and home and stick to it. That's number 4. Number 5, stop asking permission to live your own life. And I like how one man put it. He says, I live life on my terms. I ask the Lord what I should do, but then I live my life on my terms and his. And lastly, go outside every day and allow creation to steady you. There's something beautiful about the grass that is green. There's something wonderful about the blue sky. I live in Alberta and we're known as big sky country. So enjoy the beautiful day. Enjoy what you see and how it makes you feel. That's how you reclaim your freedom. So that's my thoughts for you today. And if you like what you're hearing and seeing, I always encourage you to press the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to thank all the people who are my subscribers. And I do encourage you to, if you're watching me for the very first time, to subscribe. I have so many wonderful videos. And check out my YouTube shorts every day. I do a series of short little messages, short videos on one subject. And this is all designed to help you, to encourage you, and to, give you something to think about every day. So thank you for joining me. My name is Robert Dean Steele. Have yourself a great and godly day.